Brad Manget. He is in charge of the front line and specifically to some of the extortion work, and you'll see some of that, and he'll speak a little bit later on. And then we have Ian McDonald, who's our communications person there. What I'd like to do is walk through a presentation and then open it up to questions after I finish. And then, first of all, it'll be about extortions, and we'll have questions and answers on extortions. And then after that, we'll open it up to questions on anything pertaining to policing and Surrey. So, okay, we need a mic check here. Okay, all right. Ian, if you could close the door there, maybe it'd be helpful. All right.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
Everybody's got the screen? Okay, let me have some preliminary comments first. Number one, we have an extortion crisis, and it's been probably a year and a bit that it's been really escalated. It's always been around for a number of years, but I'll show you how it all started from our perspective, from an intelligence perspective, from a policing in Canada perspective. But before we do that, let's throw on the slides there, first one there. Just recognizing the lands that we're on and being privileged to be here in Surrey on Indigenous lands. Next. Okay, the starting point is this. So where you see blue is Surrey Police Service, and the dark color, brown, red, is the RCMP. We've been here, as you know, since 2021, and in 2024 we became police of jurisdiction, and we've got 2/3 of the geography, and next we move up to Cloverdale, and then we move up to Guildford Fleetwood. And that is coming in the near future. Next. Okay, and here we are, growing. 639 police officers, adding more every month, 500 civilian members, and roughly about 180,000 calls a year. Very busy place, complex calls, and extortions is part of that. But we are growing, and we have two streams for recruiting. Brand new recruits, Justice Institute of BC. We have a lot of applications. Many young people in Surrey want to come back and serve in Surrey. I'm very pleased with that. Then we have experienced officers, and they come from across Canada, but mostly from BC. RCMP, Vancouver, just hired some from Delta. So those experienced officers, and we need them. We just cannot rely on brand new recruits, and the reason is we need experienced officers to do major investigations. Recruits are to the front line. Next slide. This is important. When you're talking about extortions, 2025, the threats, 133, shootings, 49, almost one a week. 2026, 56 and 11. But there's a good news story here. Next slide. So you see, this is just the shots fired. You see the graph. Goes up, comes down, and then it goes up in January. The task force became involved in here, the provincial task force. Surrey Police Service had their own investigative team around here. So you see the numbers, it kind of came down, this and that. It spiked up in October. Don't know why. It came down again, and then it spiked up in January. And so towards the end of the year, but for sure in January, Superintendent Manget led a team that's called Project Assurance, which is to say that they're out there every night between midnight and 6. They're out there in the high-risk areas. They're out there in Newton. They're out there protecting the people. They're deterring. They're disrupting. And look at this. March 3rd, We had one shooting in February. It's a good news story. I don't have the threats here, but the threats have come down as well. We had 44 threats in January. We had 16 in February. Half. Good news story. It's starting to come down. Now, I'm optimistic. March is going to be good and April is going to be good. I'm optimistic. And it's a combination of a number of units. Provincial Task Force, Surrey Police Service, extortion team, and Project Assurance, which we'll talk about here momentarily. So, good news story. Next. This is something that we did which is unprecedented, and that is having the photos out. Now, why is this unprecedented? Because when people face charges in Canada, normally their photos are not displayed unless there's an investigative reason to display them. And we all know that traditionally when there's somebody that's a sex offender and he's released back into the community, you have to notify the community and all that sort of stuff, and the photo is out there. So there's a risk to the community, you put the photo out. The reason why we put these photos out is because we want to further the investigation. Youngest person here is 19. I think the oldest is 24. Student visas. Somebody knows where they got the gun from. Somebody knows where they got the ammunition from. Somebody knows why they went to that address. We need information from the public. These people were not working in isolation. And so we put the photos out there. And you know what? We got phone calls. We got phone calls. And that's a good news story. So we just had also, we had a unique case, like all these people were charged. And one, this individual here, Mr. Singh. So Mr. Singh, we arrested for extortion-related shooting, and immigration, CBSA took him right away, and he was removed from Canada in 10 days. And we put out the photo, and we did get people that called in and said, gave us intelligence. And similar with some of these others as well. So that's why we do it. Not every agency does it, but we are in a crisis and we have to put everything out there. We have to get that information as much as possible. And that's what happens. So it's a good news story that way for us, for the community. It's a good news story for the community. Okay, but let me talk about these people. We have a problem because these are vulnerable people. They come here and some of them are swayed or persuaded because of money to get involved in this kind of a lifestyle, making bad choices. And so Jag will talk about a little bit later about some of the work he's doing to reach international students. And to offer suggestions about making proper choices or calling when they are approached by somebody to be a shooter. So understand this. There's, generally speaking, 3 buckets. Number 1 bucket is the extortion threat comes from offshore. Here in Canada, there's a broker. Then there's the shooters. 3 levels. That's 1 bucket. The other bucket is local gangs. They're like the broker. They hire shooters. Anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 to do the shooting. Then there's the 3rd bucket, which is just low-level gangsters, not organized, but they want to make some money. They feel it's a way to make money. So very organized offshore, organized in BC, and then just not organized, but trying to make $1 here. So that's what we're doing. Now, next. I mentioned the BC Extortion Task Force. Surrey Police Service has 15 employees there. They have over 50 in the BC Extortion Task Force. We have our own extortion team here. Why is that? Why is there two? Because with the BC Extortion Task Force, they take the complex cases where there has been a connection between Surrey, Delta, and Abbotsford. That takes a lot of trying to figure out, and all these agencies, we're all there together. We're all there together. So you got to have representation. You got to have one team that can kind of coordinate that. We take all the ones that just right in Surrey. Right in Surrey. Then we have Project Assurance, which is people. We're out there, and it's quite complex. We'll talk about it here in a moment. But essentially, people between midnight and 6 in the morning, and it's working. It's working. Victim management. JAG does a lot of that, and it's important that we really reach out to the community, to those receiving threats, that we have the good customer service, that we do everything we can for them. And then we do community engagement. That's where you come in. I was at Surrey Board of Trade, which is now Surrey White Rock Board of Trade. I'll be speaking to the MLAs coming up. I'm going to a BIA. I'm speaking to you. You can put your stories together to your community on what we do. And I'll tell you what we need from you at the end of this presentation. This is Project Assurance, and this is a report that they put out every night. Look at on the left-hand side. These are all addresses that are blocked off. But look at how many times we attended. We attend these addresses because they're high-risk addresses. People have received threats or they've been shot. It says 4 constables there. Why do we have people on day shift attending addresses? I'll tell you why. Because those people that want to do a shooting, they do surveillance or take photos of businesses. They look at the way into the neighborhood or how to get out of the neighborhood. They do a little bit of reconnaissance and surveillance. We've disrupted people that have been taking pictures. We've gathered intel. There's no criminal offense for taking a picture of a house or a business. But we know that it's nefarious, and so we gather intelligence that way. But we have disrupted and prevented some crimes from occurring. Now look at this. That's between nighttime, which is 7 at night to 6:30 in the morning. And we have how many people there? 22 constables overnight to do just this, visiting. Look at attended 8 times, attended 9 times. Those are houses or businesses. If people are awake, we say hello. We're out here. That's what we're doing. Now, go back to the slides of the individuals. That's how we caught 5 of these people, by being out there. 2 of these people we caught, we were in an industrial area, and there was 2 businesses that were victims of being shot. And we were out there with a whole bunch of people, and we heard a shot. And so then we converged on the car, and 2 people we arrested, and we got a gun. The other 3, similar, we used some specific techniques, police techniques, but we were out there, and they shot at a house, and we were able to make a quick arrest. You know, there's techniques that they're using and we're adapting to, but they're changing their tactics as we change ours, and they're trying to be a step ahead, some of these people. Okay, go back to that other one, please. All right, so you see how much we blanket. And this is Project Assurance, and I'll ask Superintendent Manget to give you a little bit of a briefing on that. Lav?
Sure. So I oversee frontline policing in Newton, South Surrey, and Cloverdale. And when we started Project Assurance, when the shooting started it was more community engagement. So we had our frontline members go to the businesses and just check in on the businesses, because we knew there was a gap. If there's a shooting and then investigations took on an investigation, there was little contact with the businesses to make sure that they felt safe. So we just started it way, our frontline members visiting businesses, and then the shooting started at residences. So then we extended that into the afternoon and then overnight. And then what we did was in November, we saw the graph there was a spike, and then we put dedicated resources to Project Assurance. And their sole responsibility was to prevent further shootings. So the victims that were being victimized, we didn't want them to get re-victimized. So, and then in January we had another spike, and then I took over the team full time, just working on Project Assurance. And so from there we've grown it to almost 22 members each night. And so there's different streams in Project Assurance. One is engagement, education. One is outreach that JAG is involved in, and we're engaging a lot of our career colleges, our universities. We've looked at some of the profiles of some of the individuals that were the shooters, like what situation were they in, were they victimized, or were they, or opportunists, trying to get an understanding of why they might do this. And now we're starting to engage the schools to educate them, to talk to the students and give them an opportunity to speak to us. Victim management is another one. So JAG is heavily involved in working with all of the victims. Sometimes you might, someone may have gotten a threat, but they don't hear anything for 2 months. We still want to make sure we engage them and make sure that they're still, know that we're here for them. And then the operations side, which is the big one, is that we have police staff that are on 24/7. So daytime, they're visiting the businesses, they're going by the homes, knocking on the door, talking to the victims. Is everything okay? Is there anything suspicious that you saw? And then at nighttime, we have a full team out that goes to all the businesses. In some cases, they're staying in the areas of those businesses if they're high risk. So we're assessing every night what we might think is a bit high risk or lower risk, and we adjust every night. So we're out there every night for the victims and patrolling the homes and businesses. So that's really Project Assurance.
Now, when you're talking about these addresses, we have 2 addresses that are very, very high risk, where we have a police officer sitting outside overnight. And, we'll see how long we do this, but it costs a lot of money, and it's how long can you sustain this. But they're very high risk, and so it's been really quiet. Obviously, my people are out there just sitting there all night, but we're there to protect the community. I'll ask JAG here, Inspector Kosa, to talk about victim management. JAG?
I can speak in Punjabi if you guys want.
Yeah, no.
Be easier?
Yeah,
Okay,
easy.
sounds good. So victim management and support. It's not just managing them. It's about supporting the victims. So ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ victims ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ threat ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ building ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ, ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਵੀ extortion calls ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਦੇਖੀਆਂ, mainly ਇਹਦੇ ਚ ਕਿ buildings ਨੂੰ target ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, fear and paranoia create ਕਰਦੇ families ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. But if you look at those families, if you go and sit with them, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਗੋਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ travel ਹੋਈ ਆ, ਉਹ ਕੱਲੀ brick wall ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨੇ pierce ਕੀਤੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ wellness ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ. ਸੋ ਉਹ ਲੋਕ 35 ਦਿਨ 2 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਸੌਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ. ਕਈਆਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਚੇਅਰ ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀ ਵੱਜੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਗੇਮ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨਿਕਲਦੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਚੋਂ. ਸੋ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਫॉर द ਪੁਲਿਸ ਟੂ ਸਪੋਰਟ them ਥਰੂ that. ਇਨਵੈਸਟੀਗੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੀ ਜਾਣੀਆਂ, ਸਪੋਰਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ. ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸੇਫਟੀ ਨੀਡਸ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ. ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਦਿਲ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਰੰਟ ਲਾਈਨ ਇਨਵੈਸਟੀਗੇਟਿਵ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾਣਾ, देयर फोकस इज अबाउट ਇਨਵੈਸਟੀਗੇਟਿੰਗ द क्राइम. So we created this separate team to get victims to support kardi, to make them feel and make them understand that we're there for them long term, not just 2 days. We came and drew the file number and we're gone. So ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ information share ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗੀ. So victims ਦੀ ਉਹ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ ਤੇ ਸ਼ੱਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ information ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ. And then doing the safety planning. So every file that's generated, there's a safety plan that we do. So meaning thorough safety plan not only tips to the family, but ਉਹਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ risk assess ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨਾ risk ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਇਸ ਫਾਈਲ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬੇਸ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ resource, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਘਰੇ 9 ਵਾਰੀ ਕੀੜਾ ਵੱਜਣਾ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਘਰੇ 5 ਵਾਰੀ ਵੱਜਣਾ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ fact ਹੈ ਕਿ police cannot be everywhere all the time. So we sometimes have to prioritize and balance. ਤੇ ਉਹ balance ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਬਣਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਹਰੇਕ family ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ ਤਾਲੁਕਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ long term ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ support ਕਰਦੇ ਰਵਾਂਗੇ. So that's in some victim management for you. And then we work very collaboratively with invest teams, ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ patrol ਤੇ project assurance. So ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ team ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ different aspects ਤੇ.
Thank you, Jag. Okay, so Jag talked about a safety plan. Duty officers, a senior officer that works 24/7 is out on the street. So when somebody receives a threat, we have a constable that goes there and takes a statement. We also send a senior officer, just to provide a little bit more comfort to the individual about, okay, here's SPS, senior officer is there, and answer any questions, because the senior officer has the bigger picture. The constable may not. So that is important. Victim management, very important. Cameras. So there's two different types of cameras that we have. We have cameras that are close to a business or a house, protecting the house, and some of them are visible and some of them are not visible. And then we work with the city of Surrey on their traffic cameras, which is on the artery roads outside of wherever that residence is or wherever that business is. And so between the two cameras, because it's very important to get intelligence, especially after there's been a shooting, but even when there's suspicious vehicles, etc., it's important to have a look at the car, what's the plate, who's in there, etc. That's what we do with the cameras. Well, I mentioned two locations where we have static police presence, and in some cases we give body armor to people. They've requested it, so we can do that. And the last thing I'll say, which is not on here, we're just investigating panic alarms. So for certain high-risk individuals, it'll be coming, the direct line will be coming upstairs to our dispatch area. So that's important. We're going to tell people to phone 911 still as well. You got to do both. But they would have at least, it gives them some comfort to have a panic alarm with that. Next slide. Communications. We do a lot. We do a lot. And we continue to do that. We're going to evolve it even further. And at the end of today's meeting, we'll give you a fact sheet. We're going to come up with a new fact sheet probably every 6 weeks, because the numbers change and what we do and these numbers change. So we'll give you the facts so you can report on the facts. People say that a little bit confusing, you know, we don't know what to believe and all this, and I understand it. But there's a lot of people speaking in the community, and I'm talking about politicians or community leaders or victims, and everybody's got something to say and a rationale or an explanation or some solutions. And it's confusing to the layperson, just your average Surrey citizen. So we'd like to try and get the truth out, the facts out, and I do a video every month that goes out to everybody. You can have a look at it to bring you up to date on the latest. Next. Now, this is what we're going to do. I'm hitting the BIAs. We'll be going to the faith locations. Jeg and Lab are looking after the international students. We do presentations where victim businesses, especially the businesses that are large or have multiple locations, they got 30, 50 employees all in. We do presentations. And here's the thing. Here's what's really important. And we've encountered this before, where when we talk to people, they said, you know what, 2 days ago there was this car, drove by really slow, I didn't think anything of it, somebody's looking at it. You got to report that. It might be totally innocent, but report it and we'll check it out. So we got to get that info. We got to get that info on it. And then I do the video and etc. So that's very good. Okay. Now, 3 weeks ago, had a meeting with the Prime Minister, and the meeting was about extortions, and it had the chiefs that in jurisdictions that are part of the extortion task force. So that was Delta, that was Abbotsford, that was Surrey, and then of course the RCMP. And it was a very good meeting. He was very he was very well informed about Surrey extortions. He was very well briefed, I found. And also he was very conversant with legislation. And we talked about bail. We talked about the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. We talked about lawful access. What lawful access? That the technology is proceeding very quickly, legislation hasn't caught up. We got to get into these phones when we seize them in search warrants without a lot of hassle and paperwork and bureaucracy to find out who they talk to. So, and he was very receptive, so I felt it was a very good meeting. Next. So here's what we need globally. We need some changes in legislation, and especially when you're talking about the Immigration and Refugee Act. You know, a number of times we go and do a search warrant, this and that, and somebody's going to be facing some charges, and they, as soon as they claim refugee status, everything stops. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, CBSA can't deport them until the hearing, and it goes through all those hoops. So we need to fix up the immigration legislation in this country. And I think the Prime Minister was receptive to that. We'll see what happens. Number two is what we need is expertise in cyber. When you're talking about some of these calls coming offshore, we need the expertise, and we are getting it, to trace them. It's one thing to trace a call in Canada or WhatsApp. It's another thing, like it goes and it bounces off of servers. So yesterday, we know that it came from offshore, but it came from a server in California. So there's ways to disguise it. So expertise, and we are getting there. We need cameras. We're working with the city. We need more cameras. That's coming along. Finance. We need to look at where the money goes. I don't think, I mean, I've heard upwards to $500,000, $700,000 that people pay. I don't know if it's true or not, but FinTrack, it's a federal responsibility, finances, to see if there's money moving offshore. My understanding is those that pay smaller numbers, but who knows? We gotta explore that. We gotta explore that. And then the last thing is we're doing good with resources, but in my view, we still need more resources. But that is slowly coming through the province. That is slowly coming through the federal government. They've given the task force 20 more resources. So we are pointed in the right direction when it comes to resources. It took us a while to get there, but now and it's showing results. We had one shooting. So let's see what happens. Then the last slide, we're going to give you a fact sheet. Share that fact sheet or make a story out of it, etc. But those are the right numbers that are on that fact sheet. Number two, encourage reporting. We're getting more and more reporting. I think there's more of a comfort. I'm hopeful. I know people still don't, but reporting, because we look at that message and we compare it to other messages, and we do an analysis and threat analysis and do a profile, and we can start to paint the picture of who's behind all that and start to group them, etc. And that one, number three, and Jag, I'll ask you to expand on that one as well. We need information from the community, and as much as possible. We are starting to get it. When we put the photos up, people are calling, but we need the info. If somebody is suspicious, somebody recognizes somebody there, and they say, hey, I know who he hangs out with. Whatever it is, we need that info, and call us. And if people don't want to be identified, that's fine too. There's ways we can deal with that, but we need the info, and the community has a lock on it, and we just got to get it more. It's coming, but we got to get more of it. Jag, you want to talk about that, please?
Thank you. Community ਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੀਆਂ photos release ਹੋਈਆਂ ਕਾਫੀ information ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਈ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਈ ਉਹਦੇ ਚੋਂ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਪਰ ਉਹ ਫੋਟੋਜ਼ ਦੀ ਇਨਕਰੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੱਤੀ so what I want is community to proactively reach out to us anything suspicious you're not wasting your time would rather be wrong about something than not have that information so ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਯਾਰ ਵੀ ਐਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਆ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਜ਼ਲ ਨੇ ਦੇਖੀ ਹੈ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਪੀਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਕਿ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੋਈ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਗੁਆਂਢ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਇਸ ਰੂਮ 'ਚੋਂ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਮਿਲੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਦੈਟ ਐਂਡ ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਵੀ ਇਨਕਰੇਜ ਦ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਟੂ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ
Thank you for that. Okay, that's should be the last slide.
Yeah.
Questions or comments? Lav is here, Jag, myself. Feel free. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for your time. And our question and answer session will start. And the first question from me.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Pranit and I'm from Omni News.
Yep.
Thank you for this presentation. These facts really look encouraging, and February is supposed to be optimistic month. Since
Let's
now.
see.
Yeah, let's keep the momentum going. My question to you is, as Mr. Khosa has just said, that we need community information from community or any kind of facts. Sometimes community doesn't come forward because of the lack of the charges. The individuals which you have arrested, most of them are charged with firearms charges,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah, reckless
and not
use.
extortion.
Yep.
So
Yep.
people sometimes say that the charges are not serious enough.
Yeah.
It might be threatening to me or my privacy or my family. So that might be the one more reason. What you have to say about that? Why the charges are not secured as serious as they should?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you for that. So first of all, as everybody knows, we have to work within the four corners of the Criminal Code of Canada. We put the information together and we take it to the Crown Prosecutor's offices. They make the decision. An actual extortion charge has a very threshold. These are the shooters. These are the shooters. The BC Task Force last week or this week, they came out with an arrest and they made some, I think 1 or 2 with extortion charges. And that's where I said where the BC Task Force looks at more complicated files where somebody was responsible for the shooting and orchestrating the shooting in Surrey and also in Alberta. So it really is, what evidence do you have? Usually you need to get to the broker. Remember I said there's a shooter? That's reckless use of firearm. Got to get to the broker. And that's why. That's the way the evidence or the law is in Canada. But what works for us, I tell you, the best thing that works for us is removal from Canada. Removal from Canada. Because we don't have to wait 2 years for trial. And all the evidence and the money and everybody going there and testifying, maybe the witnesses, victims, and so forth. And I think removal from Canada is the quickest and easiest way to stop. Because if they're not removed, they could always be at risk of being influenced again to do a shooting. So thank you for that. Good question.
Chief, I'll quickly add to that, if you don't mind. What's the objective? Objective is to prevent crime. So if we get information from the community, yes, charges are one thing, but can we not prevent crime if we have information ahead of time? So always aspects to look at it. So that's why we want the community to participate, because we're all partners in this.
It's Gurpreet Singh Sahota from Channel Punjabi. Chief, it works both ways. Where you listen to community, community listens to you. You listen to community, you read the pictures, information is coming out. So when you try to enforce your formalism on community, sometimes it doesn't work. So the fact sheet you're giving us today, it has a data that how many number of people are under radar in under Surrey police who are doing extortions and shooting people.
We didn't go that far. We didn't go that far because we have to be careful about, I was going to say privacy, but we don't have any addresses down there. Maybe next, that's a very good idea. Maybe next when we do. Thank you for that, though. Yeah.
Kuldeep.
Yes. Kuldeep Singh from Sanjha
Yep.
TV. As you explained that from the day those pictures, identities disclosed of the suspect,
Yes.
what was the reason before that? 'Cause you were watching all those extortion cases, few people have been died, killed. What was the reason not to disclose those identity before? But from the day you disclose the identity, you got a lot of information. You don't think so? It was too late
Yeah.
to disclose, number one?
Yeah.
And including this one, during the visit of Prime Minister
Yeah,
and visit of Premier,
yeah,
as you said, find out the suspect.
yeah,
We collect the evidences.
yeah,
Give it to the Crown Council.
yeah.
And it's up to the Crown Council, they charge them or not.
Correct.
Did you try to talk to Prime Minister or Premier that they can be more right as other province has, as the police, that you can charge those suspects directly because you have more evidences and you have more information about that?
Okay.
Both questions.
Very good question. So, number one, when you're talking about disclosing the photos, the reason why it's unprecedented is the Crown does not want us to disclose the photo. Under the Charter, there's Section 7, it's called, and it's an argument that they will use, if it goes to trial, the defense. Defense will use that we can't get a fair trial because the person's photo was there before he was convicted. He was just charged, because everybody's presumed innocent until guilty in Canada. So the Crown would rather not try and rebut and argue against that in court. Everybody understand that? So everybody, normally, unless there's a public interest, and we have one here, we feel we have one here, the Crown was a little bit hesitant about this, but soon as somebody's charged, you don't automatically put the photo out there, because they don't want that argument by the defense to say, my client can't get a fair trial because his photo was out there. We feel that, as been said here before, it's reckless use of firearm, it's way down the road, the trial is going to be down the road. We feel on a balance of probabilities, it's better to release the photo, get the intelligence, prevent something from happening, and the Crown will just have more of a challenge in court if somebody brings up the argument that they couldn't get a fair trial because their photo was up. So the Crown is very much involved in that. Number two, the prosecution and court system is by province. The Prime Minister has no authority over that. It's strictly by the province. There's two provinces, I think maybe three, that the Crown does pre-charge approval. We're one, Quebec is one, and on the East Coast. Everybody else, the police charge. I come from Alberta, police charge, as you said. I prefer that system. You know why? We have the evidence, we're there, but also they get the evidence, everything we do, but it's quicker. It's quicker because we have to give it to the Crown, they have to read everything, and of course, you know, they have a lot of files, and I understand their position. So my preference is to have the police charge like the majority of provinces, but that is a provincial responsibility. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. J. CJ Sidhu, Sanjha TV. Very helpful presentation, Chief. And my question is, there are multiple layers of the organization and police forces. You guys have
Yeah.
Delta,
Yeah.
extortion tasks, RCMP.
Yeah.
How you coordinate your efforts? Because it comes in the media sometimes.
Yeah.
That a lack of coordination causes a problem.
Yeah, okay. Another very good question. When you have large groups of people come together, it takes a little bit for them to gel. I don't care whether it's sports teams or it's businesses or it's policing. So we have the BC Provincial Task Force. There's 5 agencies on that one. And then we have ours here as well. We have 15 people, because Surrey is part of that. And then we have this. And so what happens is now we have a very, I think, pretty smooth system where I think it's twice a week everybody meets. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? If there's an active investigation, there's surveillance and so forth, it's daily. Daily, because you want to make sure that you're not crossing over into this person's investigation. It has to be clean. So it took us a bit. It took us a bit, but I think that we are working well. And Jag, you can make a mention of how we do business here, and I'll have a few other comments later.
Yeah, so from project assurance,
Go ahead, sorry.
project assurance perspective, we see daily, we liaise daily with our invest team, with the task force, to understand what the risks are, who might be the next risk, the victims as well too. So project assurance has sort of bridged the community, the engagement, education, victim management, patrolling high-risk locations for the joint task force and plus our investigative team. So we bridge that gap. So, Jag, anything else?
I'm pretty comfortable where we're at now. It took us a while, though. Took us a while. Human beings being what they are.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the policing perspective, every member wants to solve this. So from our perspective, or JFO or CFSU, and any agency, members want to solve this. And the only way we can solve this is by talking to each other. If we don't talk, because bad guys do, criminals do. So, and like Chief said, it takes a little bit of time to bring the teams together and to get to the level where we need to be. So right now, Lab's doing an amazing job leading that project. He has his eyes on all different moving parts, and wherever we see the gap is fixed right away. So it's working well, and we're going to continue on that path.
One of the things I'll mention, and I didn't have a slide on it, but how did all this start in Canada? We all know it's always been in Canada. Numbers have been very low. So we go back to 2023. What happened here in Surrey in 2023?
Assassination of Sanjha.
Correct. And so when you're looking at, and we've talked to agencies across Canada, and when I say across Canada, it's the ones that have extortion, Edmonton, Brampton, which is Peel Regional, Calgary having them now. But really it's Brampton, Edmonton, and then it came here. And then, so that's how it started to, and this is from the national intelligence agencies that have the bigger picture and geopolitical. What happened in 2024 that threw gas on the fire? What did the Prime Minister